Hey, hey. All right, Libras. As we are exiting Libra season, I thought we need to give a little fanfare to the Libra crew. I hope you guys have had wonderful birthdays. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's ahead for Libra. And actually, hang on. I keep moving decks and I keep burying and uncovering the deck that I want. Let's let's go this route. What is next in our Libra's adventure? Storm fields, and we've got kind of this checkered like roadway or pathway, which says, okay, first off, never fear, Libra gets to make choices, right? We can decide, which path we want to take, right? Not everything has to turn into upheaval, although sometimes upheaval is the best thing that ever happens to us. But we definitely have this vantage point. We have like these chamomile flowers that are growing here. And then we have off in the distance, if we keep going down a certain road, then we could hit the tornado that's tearing up a house, right? So yes, it reminds us life can change on a dime, but it also reminds us with that black and white checkered pathway that you know everything in life, every step we take is a chess game. And if we look ahead as we can here, we can say, okay, right now things are really peaceful, but if I don't pay a little bit more attention, I could end up in hot water. Like, let's say, oh, my finances are fine today, but I know that there's a big bill coming up. My car, I know, is on its last leg. So, should I just have fun with my money, or should I be prudently setting a little aside, maybe starting to look for another vehicle, consider, how I'm going to do things, what I'll, just start doing the reconnaissance now before we get to the storm. This is the warning that if we don't do some, like eyes wide open approach and look at our life and look into the future just a little bit, we could fail to see what we should be prepping for now so that we don't have a catastrophe. This is more like a word to the wise kind of message, not like a big scary. So let me just take a look and see what this is. Hi, Ravi. Nice to see you. Casey's in the house. Hi, sweetheart. And Mary Jones. So nice to see you all tonight. I know it's getting later and later, isn't it? But my internet's still working and I'm so excited. We have an ace of swords, we have a six of cups. I feel like this feels like a celebration, Libra. Like I that's the other reason I was like, things are actually working for the first time smoother than I've seen in a bit. So I'm so hopeful, and it makes me feel like celebrating and partying, and Libras, come on, we got to have one more reason to have a birthday celebration, right? So um to have that energy of the storm fields followed by the ace of swords and the soulmate energy. If anything, this would be a good time for Libra to figure out friend from foe. And that might sound a little bit harsh, a little bit calculating, but let's remember the black and white squares here. Sometimes we act like, you know, um, soulmates are the people that help us to learn lessons. But sometimes we are being very generous and saying, oh, that person was a soulmate, they helped me learn a lesson. When really what it is that person was a backstabbing, karmic from a past life. But I'm going to call them a soulmate that helped me to learn a lesson. And while that's a beautiful spin on things, it kind of says if there's somebody sapping Libra's strength and energy right now, is that going to get even worse in the future? Is this a good time to ask, you know, who are the people that are in my inner circle? And are they people that are in my inner circle because they're loving, they're kind, I trust them? Or are they frenemies that I like them, but we have a weird tension between us? Because this might be a time to consider that. I mean, I'm sorry to have kind of like a weird message on this one, but it almost feels it's time to make a decision between who's a friend, who's a foe, who's a lover, and not blur lines. And I'm not saying be like, oh, they never did anything wrong, but I think that person might not be a friend, and so I'm going to cut them out of my life and be rude to them. Not at all. But if somebody feels like they're always jealous or rude, but they act like a frenemy, Do we give them full access to everything going on in our life? Probably not. We'd probably keep a little bit of, like cordial, friendly, but maybe not bring them right into our innermost circle. If someone is an individual that we're attracted to, but we keep trying to pretend that they're a friend, that could end up with hurt feelings. Maybe in this storyline, it's suggesting that we identify how we really feel about people and just be honest about that with ourselves so that we know where to place them in our lives. I hope that doesn't sound rude, but we have a two of coins and we have the death card. There are changes up ahead. Some people are going to stay in Libra's life and come way closer. Other people are going to leave Libra's life. I think because, the death card is change, right? More so than it is loss. The Two of Pentacles is, I am weighing things. And we have the giant jellyfish in the sky, which tells us we have wisdom. And it's kind of like hovering around the crown chakra, like, hey now, you do know. You do know this in the back of your mind anyway. Some things got to change. Some relationships, they need to be identified for what they are. This is a really wonderful person in my life. I love them dearly and I want to bring them in even closer. Another person, I'm in love with them. They're not just a pal. Let me admit it and let me, talk about it if that's what I need to. If there's a soulmate I want to return to, let me be real with myself. That's what I want. And if somebody is hovering around that seems jealous or unkind, but I keep trying to act like they're an okay friend, maybe it's time to distance myself from that relationship so I don't always feel this clench in my tummy like they're pumping me for information every time we sit down to have like coffee. It's really just a weird gossip session / like trying to get me to gossip or say something so they can use it against me later. I don't know. I get a weird vibe off of this. Like there's several relationships that aren't really being seen for what they are. And I think if Libra starts like evaluating that, their life will get simpler. This is not to say be afraid of hidden enemies. This is more like, no. In our gut instinct, we already know who we love. We know who we like, and we know who we don't quite trust. So why not be more open-eyed about it? Just because it'll simplify life and it could help avoid heartbreak. It could help avoid, unnecessary gossipy stress. That kind of thing. It's just about clearly defined borders. Okay, so this does have to do with love also. If we have somebody who's not somebody, okay, Libra, and Libra has, first off, love for themselves, then they're going to be advocating for the best future outcome. Certainly in the next 3 months, Libra maybe needs to know who they want to be with, where they want to be, who their close friends are, who they want to spend more time with, so that they can have the happiest next 3 months. We got holiday seasons coming up. It's like, I kind of keep leaning towards saying there's a romance that either hasn't been acted upon or hasn't been brought back in, and maybe it's time to start acknowledging that, so that we're living our most authentic life. Let me just ask, as far as that soulmate card goes, because I feel like this is more about potential like emotions and stuff. That soulmate card, we have a 3 of Cups sideways, we have the World card, and we have a Queen of Swords. There is somebody that Libra either wants to have a new beginning with, and this could be a soulmate that they want to reconnect with from the past and they just haven't like started that ball rolling in that direction. This could be somebody who's, we dated a little, we're friends now, but in truth, maybe the emotions are still there. So maybe it's time to say something about that. Or this is somebody from long ago and far away, and Libra's like, I actually still really think about that person, and I need to get either full closure, because the World card is about new beginnings or formal endings. And this is Year of the Snake, and we only got a couple months left, right? We're looking at the 3 of Wands, and this makes a lot more sense. We don't even have 3 months left of this year. But it's like, before this year closes out, I need to know what's going on. I can't carry this into 2026. I gotta know, is a soulmate still someone that I need to reconnect to? If I need to talk to them, then I gotta talk to them before the end of the year. Is there somebody in my life I gotta cut out? It's beginnings and it's endings, but it's also for the sake of closure and knowing where we stand before this year is over. This is a year for change, and this could be a very changeable last part of the year, but it's because I'm putting things in order now. I actually think that could be great. This doesn't feel stressy to me. This feels like cleaning up. You know, you know how nice it is when you decide I'm going to clean thoroughly in my house. I'm going to do the baseboards and right next to the fridge and the countertop where there's that little area that always looks so scuzzy. And it's just, you feel cleaner as a whole because you took care of the little nooks and crannies. Like that's how this comes across. I'm putting things in order before the end of the year. We have a Five of Swords, we have a Fool card. If Libra is making some decisions about people who can't be in their life anymore and somebody that they need to bring back into their life, everything about change, and we do have two cards of change with the Death card and the World. Change is always uncomfortable. That's probably why we have the storm fields. And now we have a 5, which is a number card, another number of change. And 5 of Swords is somebody's going to be big pissed. Somebody won't like that Libra is making decisions in their life to do things that either people don't agree with, or if this is Libra cutting somebody out of their life. And then taking that leap of faith, that's also uncomfortable. But remember, the year of the snake is uncomfortable. It's shedding an old skin and doing things differently. Because Libra is one of the zodiacs of balance and sometimes can even end up being more of a like keeping the peace and seeing both sides of things to such a degree that who they forget about is what do I want? I can see what they want. I can see what they want. I can see why they both behave the way they do. And I can be so, accepting of other people. But how about I ask myself, yeah, but what do I want? Who do I want? I don't have to be okay with who everybody else is to the extent that I forgot what is it though that I want. My needs have to be met too. And so it kind of looks like this is a Libra about to make some decisions, not all of which will be popular, but they're decisions for themselves about what I need to do to either close out cycles, find out if I'm going to have a new cycle. I have to do things my way so that, especially when I start 2026, I am at the helm of my own ship, particularly in matters of my heart and who my friends are and who gets my time. So the storm field isn't about like, ooh, Libra is going to have problems. If Libra doesn't maybe make choices that are authentic for themselves, they might find themselves like, God, I'm so dissatisfied with some of the people who get a lot of my time. At the end of 2025, I wish I had, rearranged a few things so that I'm using my time to spend with the people of my choosing instead of them deciding when they get to spend time with me. And that's more what it seems like this is evolving into. This has a lot to do with relationships, friendships, as much as lovers, as much as colleagues. It's all kinds of soulmates. Soulmates don't always have to be romantic. It's the group that we reincarnate with. And so it's a variety of people. And sometimes we've completed lessons and it's okay to separate off, or we need to move on and get out of each other's hair a bit so we can go learn other lessons with other soulmates. And so it's that kind of uncomfortable. Like I feel like you're somebody who doesn't want to be dislodged out of Libra's close inner circle. And it's like, you can't keep taking up all my time. I almost think somebody's blocking. I'm going to say cock blocking. Libra's ability to move onward in a relationship. Like maybe they kind of know it. This could be an ex still sitting there and it's like, oh, but we're such good friends. And it's like, yeah, we are good friends, but I got to date somebody too. In fact, there's another soulmate that I care about, but you're kind of positioning yourself to where I can't get around you. We're in an awkward no man's land. That's kind of what this looks like. Or even a family member who's like, this is so great. I have you all to myself. And it's like, but I have to also go out and have friends. I have to have lovers. I cannot spend all of my hours and days with, even if it's a wonderful family member or a wonderful friend. It does feel like somebody got a little bit too needy of Libra's energy. And it is starting to cramp their style, to put it mildly, especially when this next chapter of Libra's life is about, I think, a sense of freedom in the realm of romance and pursuing the kind of love story that they want. It almost seems like Libra's, I don't know if Libra's going to be married in 2026, but if they don't get a chance to connect to somebody, date somebody, and have like a bit of a private life between themselves and a lover where they really devote their life to a lover and themselves, they're not going to get a chance to have that romance. That's, I guess, the most gentle way I could say that while still being a little more blunt. Okay, so final message on this. Nine of Swords, Knight of Swords. There is some pressure because it's like, oh my God, I only got a couple months left. But sometimes, like Salt and Pepper said, bet your bottom dollar you work best under pressure. So I'm thinking it's going to be just fine. I'm thinking sometimes we don't make the changes that we've needed to make for an entire year or 10 years until the final countdown. Okay, now I'm hearing that song too, the final countdown. I have to say, sometimes it's not like procrastination. Sometimes it's letting an entire like process complete, and then we're actually entering the next process. And that's more what I would say this is. Whatever has gone on in Libra's life had to run its course the way it did. But now Libra's feeling that sense of change. It's basically the snake has almost shed its full skin. We're almost out of this year. The change, even though it's like, but nothing has changed yet. That's what I still have to do. I would argue, no, babe, that's what's been going on the whole year. A cycle's been rounding out. A cycle's been closing out. We're almost done. And I think as this final, like, they might, hopefully Libra's not going to be stressing in these last 2 months. We're feeling like, oh my God, I have so much to do. I think that the majority of everything's already been done. This is just like when we shake it off. There was another song, but it's when we are finally finished. I think Libra's going to have that breakthrough. We see the light bulb here. I think it's going to be a lot easier to make these changes than what Libra is like contemplating and kind of worrying about and aware. Like, I need to get more time to just date and have put my own romance at the forefront and connect to a lover if that's what I want to do. And I can feel this is about my time to start really putting my energy toward my own love life and my future. And it's almost like Libra's like, God, will somebody detach from me enough to let me go and have that love story? Yes. I actually think that because it's Year of the Snake for everybody, situations are changing for everybody. And I think there's going to be some nice completions by the end of the year that will almost seem effortless because this is what this year was about. In love, is this all, I was going to say, is this all about like a love story and what comes next for Libra? And it's like, hell yes, it is. That's a great match. We got a King of Swords. Could be a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. That is a matchup for Libra. At least it's a very complementary energy for Libra. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Araceli, thank you so much. Chills Tax, good to see you. Vagina Wild, hi, babe. 01 Frequency, Sixers fan, hi. Right back to you, babe. AMP, Rusty Rivers, great to see you, hon. Thanks for popping in. And again, Ravi Paul J, Casey, Mary Jones. Thanks, everybody. All right, you guys, I'll see you on the other side. We're going to belt on over to Tarot Dog. Lots of love.